Thank you, and welcome to Supervisor Kathryn Barger's weekly Altadena Community Meeting. We have a few short presentations, and then we'll pivot to answering questions that have been pre-submitted by community members. If you're tuning in live on Zoom, you may submit questions in real time using the question and answer function on your screen. We have agency representatives ready to respond live using the Zoom platform. Please note that questions submitted to the YouTube live chat will not be answered. Supervisor Barger, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us for today's Altadena Community Meeting. I want to start off by noting that the presentation from the Army Corps today will be led by Lieutenant Colonel David Wirt. As we've been forecasting, Colonel Sonny Avishall's time here in Altadena is almost over. Colonel Avishall has been with us since February and will be transitioning back to his old day job as commander of the Norfolk District for the Army Corps. As I've said before, but I want to say it again, I cannot thank Colonel Avishall enough for the incredible work he has led on behalf of the Corps and for Altadena. Colonel Avishall embodies the spirit of the Corps, and it was reflected in the way he carried out his mission. The progress the Corps has made over the last 7 months is incredible. They truly have underpromised and overdelivered. But at the same time, this marks a new moment for Altadena, as we are almost done with debris removal. There is more work to be done by the Corps, and I have had the opportunity to meet with Lieutenant Colonel Wirt. He has some big shoes to fill, but I am confident he is the man to meet the moment. I also want to touch upon the executive order Governor Newsom announced last week. The governor's action restored local control over important land use matters, namely SB 9 duplexes and lot splits in high fire severity zones. Empowering local jurisdictions to make reasonable decisions about development patterns in wildfire-prone areas is a smart and a necessary step. We must ensure proper infrastructure and fire safety measures are in place. My top priority remains protecting Altadena's unique community character and preventing the displacement of my constituents. I also remain committed to advancing balanced solutions that responsibly expand access to housing while protecting public safety and preserving the integrity of our neighborhoods. I'm still evaluating with County Council to determine what steps the county needs to take for Altadena. We are reviewing the new CAL FIRE maps that identified the very high fire hazard zones in Altadena. Additionally, I know insurance issues continue to be at the forefront of many of your minds. It is clear that too many survivors continue to struggle with their insurance providers and are experiencing undue claim delays, denials, or underpayments. This is not only a tremendous and unconscionable burden for those whose lives have been completely turned upside down, but it also threatens the very recovery that we've been working so hard to facilitate. State Farm's claims practices in the aftermath of the Eaton fire have led to an official investigation by the Department of Insurance. We've also heard from many of you who have the FAIR Plan about similar concerns. Another cloud hovering overhead is the very future of the private home insurance market in California. Will homeowners, and especially those like you, trying to rebuild from the Eaton fire, be able to get private insurance? And will it be affordable? With that in mind, I have asked the Department of Insurance to present to you today about two important developments. I appreciate them being with us because I take this issue very seriously. I'm also taking the rebuilding process very seriously. I want you to know that I am looking into every available option to make the process as seamless as possible. Rebuilding can and should be tailored to each household's individual needs, and that includes offering affordable options. On Friday, I took a tour of Model Z's factory here in Los Angeles. They're building affordable, durable, modular homes that can be installed in just one day. Options like these are less than $300,000 total. I know a modular home isn't for everyone, but I know it will be the right decision for some of you. It's up to each resident to decide what the best fit is for you. I will continue to look into every possible solution because it's important to know that you have choices. I also know that the huge decisions you're making about rebuilding are stressful, and you're all making them while still grappling with grief and loss. The mental health and well-being of our community continues to be a priority for me because I know it's a critical part of recovery. At our most recent board meeting, I introduced a motion specifically to strengthen mental health support for wildfire survivors. As a result, our county departments are going to identify properties and infrastructure to house and expand trauma-informed mental health and recovery services for you. I'm hopeful that we will soon have a designated space for Altadena residents to access the mental health support that you need as you continue to work toward healing during your recovery journey. I will keep you updated on the process so you can access those services as soon as they are available. Before I wrap up, I also want to give you a heads up that our weekly community meetings will begin looking a bit differently working forward. Starting August 18th, these meetings will be from 4 to 4:30 to allow us to just focus on the most timely and important issues. We will also be transitioning away from an open question and answer portion and will instead be focused on addressing questions in real time throughout the week. I invite you to share your questions with my team via email at Altadena recovery@bos.lacounty.gov so we can respond to any questions you have at any time. As we continue to make progress on the recovery journey, please know my office and I are accessible and are here for any issues that come up. I am confident these changes should help us continue to stay engaged and responsive to your needs. With that, let's get to our presentations.
Thank you, Supervisor Barger. Next, we'll turn to Lieutenant Colonel David Wirt from the Army Corps of Engineers.
Thank you, and thank you for the invite to join and backfill Colonel Avichal, who has done some amazing work the last 5 to 6 months, and I look forward to helping the community close out the mission. As we reach the tail end of our mission, our goal is to treat every property clearance as if it were our first and continue to treat the community members with care and compassion. Our call center and issue resolution teams remain active and ready to help the community as needed. Overall, we've had 5,704 opt into the program, and we've 502 personnel who have opted out. In terms of cleared properties or removal of fire ash debris, we've cleared a total of 5,589 or 99%. As of today, we've completed and returned 5,503 properties to the county, or 97%. We currently have 10 debris removal crews operating in Eaton. And overall, we have just under 25 properties remaining on our runway for the program to clear in the Eaton area. And we completed the last abatement property under our program as assigned by FEMA. We anticipate clearing the last private property here in the Eaton area on 14 August 2025. A couple key highlights I want to include here. For the golf course, the contractor will complete their demobilization by Wednesday. That's 6 August, and pending concurrence from the Corps, FEMA, and County Parks and Recreation, we will initiate full restoration once the proposal is accepted by all parties. The full restoration to pre-TDSR conditions is expected to take up to 10 weeks. That's repairing the 4 holes, the driving range, parking lot surrey, and sod as a large overview. For Elliott School, that project remains on target at approximately 60% complete. The crews are almost done with the auditorium and will continue working through the remaining parts as we target an early to mid-September completion. A couple other highlights. This past weekend, we initiated work on the Pasadena water towers. That's approximately 20 to 25% complete, and that should be wrapped up by the end of August. We will start removal of the Pasadena Police Trading Center here in Eaton Yard and Altadena Yard this week as well. We continue to work through other eligible non-residential properties around Lake Avenue to include Poppy's Cleaners and the Altadena Community Church. The last project I'd like to highlight is the Forest Service cabins, which are rather unique. This project requires use of aviation assets to drop in equipment and remove debris to our restricted access areas. While this is a unique project, we've taken the necessary steps with FEMA, local FAA reps, and the contractor to ensure this is done safely and efficiently. Thank you, and I look forward to any of your questions.
Thank you. Next, we'll turn to Kiara Barnett from the LA County Department of Public Works.
Great, good afternoon, everybody. I'll wait for those slides to come up, please.
Sorry, I didn't receive slides.
Okay, gotcha. We sent them over around 2, but I can pull. Do you know if I can share screen? Or should I send them over now?
Yeah, yeah, you can share screen.
Perfect. All right, let's see if it'll allow that for me. 1 second here, sorry. All right. All right, let's hope you're not seeing yourselves back. Do you guys see the screen there okay?
Yes, Kara, we see it.
Perfect. Great. So let's run through those. Thank you. All right. Sorry, that won't work for me. I lost all of you. All right. Give me 1 second. Sorry. All right. So you do now see my screen. And I've lost you. But thank you for the opportunity to provide a permit progress update. As of today, 1,307 rebuild applications have been received by Los Angeles County. Planning initially receive your submittal applications and review for what is proposed to be built and where on a site. There's 1 application submitted for the proposed work on your site to planning, and planning have cleared 901 zoning reviews. When full building plans are prepared and submitted, detailing how structures are proposed to be built, then a project progresses into the building plan review stage and is reviewed at the same time by all the other permitting departments. 807 plan reviews are in progress. Some projects involve multiple structures, such as a house, a detached garage, an accessory dwelling unit. And so this week we've added some data points to confirm how many parcels or projects have progressed into the building permit stage. Separate permits are created for each structure, but the applicant does not need to file any additional applications. That is handled internally by the permitting departments. So including all permit types, 138 permits have been issued in the Altadena area to date, and that reflects 102 parcels that have permits and have begun or can begin construction. So as a whole, we've been averaging 60 business days from the initial submittal to planning to permit issuance for new residential projects. Our goal is to reduce that overall time in half, and that turnaround time does include the designer's time to create and submit the full building plans, as well as receive and respond back to comments from permitting departments. But we remain committed to expediting approvals, and our commitment is that rebuild projects will be reviewed within 10 business days for initial reviews and 5 business days for any additional reviews. So now I'd like to take a moment to show our permit submittal trends over time. Weekly submittals counts are shown in orange at the bottom of the screen. And so this is for planning, this first slide, and planning have been averaging about 67 applications per week. For July, planning received an average of 82 plans per week, with 105 being the most submitted in 1 week to date. So the orange line is the number of submittals per week, and then the blue line is the cumulative trend line for how many plans we've received. So you can see that it's been a fairly consistent cumulative trend for submittals to planning. And then moving into the projects that have progressed into the building review stage, weekly submittal counts are again shown in orange, and overall building submittals have averaged 37 applications per week, But in July, full building plans were submitted to progress an average of 49 plans per week, with 65 submittals in 1 week being the most received to date. Again, you'll see the cumulative trend line on top steadily increasing, and that activity has been picking up over the last 2 or 3 months. If you have not submitted yet and don't see your property reflected in these charts, that does not mean that you're behind by any means. Like the supervisor said, we understand that you're all at various stages in your decision-making process, and we're here to support you at whatever stage you are and to answer any questions that you might have. You can always visit our one-stop permit center located at 464 West Woodbury Road, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 to get any questions answered. Now I'd like to provide an update related to our fee waiver and refund program. LA County is waiving and refunding permit fees for eligible homeowners rebuilding after the Eaton wildfire. Forms can be submitted at any time by emailing recovery.lacounty.gov. Planning received the forms and do share them with all of the permitting departments. So we're flagging parcels for which we've received forms within our permitting software, Epic LA. So you should not be requested to submit duplicative information once you've submitted that form to planning. We have received 379 refund request forms and 127 waiver requests to date. Refunds for eligible fees are currently being processed, and payees can expect to receive funds back in the coming weeks. Payees will be receiving separate refunds for each invoice that was paid to each of the respective permitting departments. And the last item for me, I would like to clarify what is included in permit fees that are waived and what is not. So we've added a couple of frequently asked questions on our fee waivers and refund page on the recovery.lacounty.gov site. Permit fees do include all LA County plan review, permit, and inspection fees for all the permitting departments. So zoning review fees, fire department plan review and inspection fees, same for public health and same for public works. What is not included are designer costs, external agency or utility fees, addressing for new accessory dwelling units if it's elected to select a half address, coroner record survey recordation fees, and the deposit fee for the construction, recycle, and reuse. So again, all this information can be found in our frequently asked questions. And now I will stop sharing screen, but turn it over to Chris Shepard with Public Works to provide a fire debris removal update.
Great. Thank you, Kara. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to provide a quick update. I just wanted to share some information about commercial property debris removal. We know there have been a lot of questions about that and about the process around the acceptance of commercial properties into the FEMA program. So just wanted to provide a quick update on that. The county submitted a special inclusion request to FEMA for 225 commercial and multi-unit properties. Of those properties, 148 of them were in the Eaton fire area. 45 of them were commercial properties, 45 of those 148. 2 were institutional type properties like private schools, and 1 was a recreational property, and 100 were multi-unit residential properties. Of those properties, 96 in the Eaton fire area were accepted by FEMA into the program, 35 commercial and 61 multi-unit residential. 52 of the properties in Eaton were not accepted into the program and are required to move forward with fire debris removal permits and private contractors to remove the debris. Those property owners were informed of this determination and provided with a deadline of January 31st to clear the debris from their property. We're currently working with property owners on a case-by-case basis to determine if any extensions are needed to that July 31st deadline, and working with those property owners to facilitate that. We have to date issued 411 fire debris removal permits in the Eaton fire area, and 338 of those have been finalized and completed. There are 73 in progress. Many of those 73 have had debris removal substantially completed already and are finalizing the paperwork of their permits, and only a handful are left that actually need to complete debris removal. So as a reminder, the FEMA guidelines for commercial properties did require special inclusion requests for those properties in order to join the private property debris removal program. There are 4 key criteria that FEMA established for inclusion in the program. It was the immediate threat to public health and safety due to the debris, the barriers to commercial entities completing debris removal independently, the insurance coverage and status of the claim for the property, as well as the economic impact of debris removal on the commercial entity and community. Commercial properties that were not accepted into the program did not meet at least one or more of those 4 criteria, according to FEMA. So again, we continue to work with commercial property owners on a case-by-case basis to provide any extensions needed and work with them on their fire debris removal permits to make sure that debris is cleared completely and thoroughly in a safe manner from those commercial properties in the Altadena area. And that concludes my update. Thank you, Kara.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Our final presentation is Rob Obedoza from the California Department of Insurance.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Supervisor Barger and your team for having me come on and present today and provide some updates on a couple of developments that you had mentioned at the top about from the Department of Insurance with respect to the FAIR Plan and insurance availability and some announcements from the insurance commissioner. So real quick, on the next slide, I just want to remind everyone, of course, that there is the ongoing, or actually, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up that so far, over $17 billion has been paid out on our wildfire claims tracker. Over 38,000 claims have been filed so far. 35,000 have been at least partially paid out, with 17.1 billion in claims paid to date. Now, of course, it's still really early in the rebuilding process. Debris removal hasn't been completely billed to insurance carriers just yet. So those numbers are going to continue to increase even further as time goes on. But also want to give everyone the heads up that so far, the California Department of Insurance has also helped recover over $74 million for wildfire survivors through their consumer complaint process. So just to emphasize that if you are having any issues dealing with your insurance company through the rebuilding process, or having any insurance issues through this process, please give us a call and let us help you out. And this kind of ties along to the next slide, where, of course, there is still the ongoing investigation with State Farm. And I just wanted to mention to everyone that that is still ongoing, and to encourage everyone who is having issues with State Farm to continue reporting and filing those claims with the Department of Insurance, so we can continue to take action and continue building that case. Of course, with the State Farm investigation, some of the things we've been focusing on are things like having multiple adjusters and a lack of communication between those different adjusters, inconsistent handling of different claims, inadequate record keeping or information sharing amongst the different claims teams who are handling the process, and of course, smoke damage claims, which has been the biggest issue that we've seen since these fires happened in January. And, you know, the smoke damage claims aren't a new thing as well. This is something that's been consistently an issue with wildfires and disasters in the past. And of course, a few months ago, the commissioner did announce that they did create a smoke damage and remediation task force to create some clear guidelines on how insurance companies should be handling those smoke claims within the state of California, to make sure that those who have still standing homes but have suffered that smoke damage are getting the proper benefits that they had paid for through their insurance policy. And on the next slide, this kind of ties along to that, where last week in a press release, the Department of Insurance and Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara, because of the numerous complaints we also received from the California FAIR Plan, that the California Department of Insurance is pursuing legal action against the FAIR Plan for smoke damage claims as well. So right now we're noticing hundreds and hundreds of issues and homeowners who are facing the unfair process with the FAIR Plan through those smoke damage claims. The move follows complaints from wildfire survivors who are denied coverage due to the FAIR Plan's restrictive policies. So far, this has been an ongoing investigation with the California FAIR Plan. So far, we've identified over 400 violations of state insurance law with regards to the FAIR Plan's handling of insurance claims, in particular denying smoke claims damage based on requirements for quote unquote permanent physical damage. I believe a year ago, the Supreme Court ordered or ruled in our favor that the insurance companies, especially the FAIR Plan, should be covering that smoke damage claim, but we're still finding issues with that. Some of the other things that we're finding are misrepresentation of their policy terms, failing to investigate claims fairly, and denying legitimate claims without a reasonable basis. Now, the California FAIR Plan, although was established by the legislature as the insurer of last resort, it's just like any other insurance company. They have to uphold the insurance policies that they've written to, and they need to pay out those claims fairly. So again, similar to the State Farm investigation, the California Department of Insurance is also urging all wildfire survivors who are facing issues with the California FAIR Plan to continue reporting that to us so we can continue taking action against the California FAIR Plan. And of course, on the next slide, just a quick reminder, if you need help with your insurance issues or having any issues with your insurance company, of course, give us a call at our 800 number or file a request for assistance on our insurance.ca.gov website. But of course, with all the issues that people are facing during the rebuilding process with their insurance companies, we also get the question a lot that, is there even going to be insurance around when my home is finally rebuilt? What are going to be my options? Is it going to be affordable? And the Department of Insurance has been taking steps over the past year or so to ensure that those options are available and affordable once that rebuild is complete, and keep it sustainable in the future. So on the next slide, as part of Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara's sustainable insurance strategy, back in December, we finalized regulations to introduce what are called new risk models for insurance companies, which are called catastrophe models, which are more modern, data-driven, future-looking risk models that have been in place in other states. In fact, I believe the rest of the country implements those wildfire risk models, and California is finally on board with that as well. And with these modern wildfire risk models, we've been going through the review process for the past few months, and 3 models have been approved by Verisk, Moody's, and KCNC. These new risk models reflect home mitigation, the mitigation efforts that cities and communities have been taking into account over the past few years in response to the wildfires across the state of California. These wildfire models take into account climate risk, vegetation, terrain, and other wildfire factors like smoke direction, wind direction, and so forth, to provide an accurate picture of what a property's risk looks like. And this helps lays the groundwork for more stable long-term insurance options. Now, in exchange for allowing insurance companies to use these new risk modeling tools, these insurance companies have committed to writing more policies in high-risk areas across the state of California if they want to use these new risk modeling tools. In order for them to do that, they will need to, with these new risk modeling tools, they'll need to go through the rate filing process with the Department of Insurance and start offering new policies in those high-risk areas. So far, especially, and we just made this press announcement last week, already Mercury, Allstate, and AAA have filed early plans to start beginning expanding access for insurance, homeowners insurance across the state of California, with the goal of being to restore the private insurance market and reduce the FAIR Plan dependence and get people back off of the FAIR Plan onto standard homeowners insurance policies. And the long-term goal with these new risk modeling tools is to expand availability and affordability in the insurance market. With more insurers returning to high-risk areas in California, this will provide increased access to consumers for more coverage options, giving you a more available market out there. But with these new risk modeling tools reflecting homeowner mitigation efforts, which are tied along to some of the Safer from Wildfires regulations that the Department of Insurance introduced a couple years ago, with these risk mitigation efforts being taken into account in this underwriting process, the goal is to help lower insurance costs over time. So yeah, I mean, this is one of the biggest steps forward for the Department of Insurance to increase availability and affordability of those insurance options. We expect more insurance companies to follow on the footsteps of Mercury, Allstate, and AAA to get those new rates filed with the Department of Insurance and to provide more policies across the state of California. So help is on the way, and we're expecting to see these new insurance policies available in the near future. So that's all I have for today. I will stick around to answer any questions, but thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. We'll now transition to the question and answer portion of our evening. We'll first answer questions submitted ahead of today's community meeting. If you're watching this in real time, you may submit your questions in real time in Zoom using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. If you're watching on YouTube and would like to ask a question, please switch the Zoom platform using the QR code on your screen now. Our first question is for Public Works. For people who buy lots that have already been cleared, are they under any obligation to begin developing the property, such as building structures, within a certain time frame?
Great, I'll start with that one. Thanks for the question. And no, there's no deadline when you have to construct. I will say that you have up to 5 years after the emergency declaration to file a like-for-like rebuild application. So I'll just turn it over to planning and see if there's anything to add from there.
Nope, nothing to add, Kara.
Perfect. So
Yeah,
no
real
deadline when
quick-
you have to.
Real
to
quick,
begin.
I wanted to add something. From a code enforcement perspective, though, we expect you to maintain your lot, right? Make sure that it's secure, free of trash, and also free from overgrown weeds. So while you're not required to build your lot right away, you are required to make sure that it doesn't become a nuisance to the rest of the community. So I just wanted to add that perspective also.
Thank you. A follow-up question for Public Works. For people who buy lots that have not been cleared yet, will they be given proper time to get their lots cleared privately, or will they automatically be cleared by the county? Also, will they be under the same kind of obligations to develop as in the previous question?
So I can take that. Residential lots, if they had not been cleared by June 30th, were already transmitted over to Army Corps in mid-July, and abatement began the following week. So residential property, if you bought it and there was still debris, it's already being abated by the Army Corps. With commercial properties, I think Chris mentioned in his presentation that we are working with a handful of properties that had applied for the Cal OES FEMA PPDR program and were rejected. And so we are actively working with them to get them to get an FDR permit and clear their lots. If a property was to be sold and it was already in the process of being abated, then the county would continue with the abatement. We want to make sure that fire, ash, and debris are removed from the community as quickly as possible. So it would depend, again, at what point you purchase the property. If it's already in progress of being abated, it will continue. And the same answer that Kiara gave to the previous question applies to this one too.
Great, thank you. Another question for Public Works. What agency is responsible for checking and enforcing permits on private properties?
Great, and I will say that is going to be, let's see here. Oh, all the permitting agencies are responsible. So we have Department of Regional Planning that again look at what you're going to build and where on the site. So they'll do a zoning review, and then Public Works will be the ones to look at how the structure is built and issue the permits for construction, and then conduct inspections while the project is being built. And then for projects that are in the very high fire hazard severity zone, there's some requirements for fire department, and also all rebuild projects will need interior fire sprinklers. So again, fire department have some responsibilities for plan review and inspection. And then for properties on private sewage systems, public health will also get involved. So only one application needs to be filed for all the LA County departments for fire rebuilds, but Public Works, Planning, Fire, and potentially Public Works would be the agencies responsible for checking and enforcing permits on private properties.
Thank you. Another question for Public Works. Are blueprints placed on hold for review when staff are on paid time off? Are there multiple people involved in the process?
Great. So absolutely, we have dedicated fire rebuild teams. Our commitment is for 10 business days for initial reviews and 5 business days for additional reviews. And employees taking time off should not reflect any delay in our action. And certainly if anybody is experiencing this, I ask that they please reach out to me or the Altadena One Stop Permit Center. And I can be emailed at C as in cat, my last name Barnett, BARNETT, at publicworkspw.lacounty.gov. That's C Barnett at pw.lacounty.gov. Thank you.
Thank you. This next question is for both Public Works and the Army Corps. What can be done about fire debris that has not yet been removed from our neighbor's lawn?
I guess I'll jump in on that one. As a gentleman recently said, we've received all of the list of properties determined as abatement properties from the county and FEMA. And as of today, we cleared the last one that was assigned to us by FEMA. There are a few properties out there that we were tracking have employed private contractors to do so and are still need to be cleared by the previously published deadline. But the Corps has done all of the abatement lists under our responsibility. Chris, I don't know if you had anything to add to that one.
Yeah, Colonel, thank you. Just wanted to add to that one. This is really case by case dependent. As the Colonel mentioned, the properties that are left out there are being handled by various entities. And so it may be that, you know, the property next door to you was already cleaned or is on the runway to be cleaned in the next couple of days or is being handled by a private contractor. So if this is your situation where you feel there's some debris on your property that was left from the neighboring property next to you, we encourage you, please call our fire debris removal hotline and we'll take a look at your case on a case by case basis and see what's going on and help you to find the best way to resolve that issue, whether it's through a contractor or through a private debris removal, etc. So happy to work with folks like that on a case by case basis. Thank you.
Thank you. This next question is for the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs. How can I register an alert to protect my property's title or deed?
Okay, thank you for the question. So this refers to a program which is a service available to all LA County property owners. It's a collaboration between the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs, the Registrar Recorder, and the Office of the Assessor. It's now called the Homeowner Alert Service. You might also see it referred to as the Homeowner Notification Program or e-notification. So what is the Homeowner Alert Service? It's a free voluntary service for homeowners where you can set up an account online at the assessor's website using your preferred email address. And then anytime there's a document recorded on your property, you'll receive an email notification. So these are real estate documents recorded with the county where there's a change in ownership, such as a grant deed or a quitclaim deed, or that show loans taken against your home, or for documents involved in a foreclosure, including a notice of default or a notice of sale. Now, you'll also receive copies of these in the mail, but fraud moves quickly. And these email notifications will give homeowners their best chance to review those documents to make sure they're legitimate. It also gives you your best chance to save your home from a foreclosure. Now, the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs, my department, provides free help if you believe you're a victim of real estate fraud or you're facing a foreclosure. You can reach us at dcba.lacounty.gov or by calling 800-593-8222. To sign up for the Homeowner Alert Service, again, you'll want to visit the LA County Assessor's website. That's at assessor.lacounty.gov. Then you'll click the section that's titled News and Information. And then right there, you'll find a link that can get you started with e-notification. It just takes a couple of minutes, but provides a real safety net for homeowners. And we encourage all property owners to sign up for that.
Great, thank you. This next question is for Public Works. Will the county's trees on the parkways be watered by the county?
Sorry, I'm multitasking there with Q&A in the chat before I lose that opportunity as well. Give me 1 second. All right. All right, so appreciate the inquiry regarding the status and the health of trees. Public Works does have arborists on staff that have been monitoring the health of our trees located in the public right-of-way and ensuring that they continue to thrive. Mature trees typically do not require watering outside of the normal rain seasons, but we do continue to have detailed monitoring in the Altadena area to ensure that the trees thrive due to the recent fires. Our arborists have been increasing their inspections of trees in the Altadena area, and if they do find any trees that require supplemental watering and the homeowner is unable to provide it, then Public Works is supplying the necessary watering as directed by county arborists until a homeowner is able to do so. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. This next question is also for Public Works. If we had a corner record survey done prior to the fire within the last 10 years, will that be honored or do we have to do a new one?
Great, and I can take that one again. If the 4 property corners still exist and were the basis for the previous corner record filed, then there would be no need to file a new one. But if the corner markers are destroyed, then they would need to be surveyed to be reset. This new survey would require a new corner record survey to be filed. And if a property owner would like to get a copy of the previous corner record filed, they can get that from Public Works staff, our survey staff on the 4th floor in our Alhambra office, or they can request, a homeowner could go on our Public Works frequently asked questions page and request a copy of that filed survey to help them to be able to identify if those property corners still exist.
Kara, could they
Yeah.
also look on your land development page to
Absolutely.
see, and will the survey be available there?
That I would have to look up. I'm not familiar with that one myself, Amy, but I'm guessing you know it is.
Let me look it up and see if I can put it in the chat.
Perfect. That would be great. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. This next question is for SoCal Edison. Edison does not have plans to underground our street, even though it is further into the burn zone than many other streets that are being undergrounded. What recourse do we have?
Okay, can you repeat that question again? I'm sorry.
Of course. Edison does not have plans to underground our street, even though it is further into the burn zone than many other streets that are being undergrounded. What recourse do we have?
What I did on that question, I responded back to the inquiry with that individual, that customer, to send me their contact information and address. And I will have our operations team follow up. We're planning in 2025 to underground 23 miles, 26 and 27 or 26 particularly. We'll be rolling out that as later on in the year on the area of undergrounding. So I think for answering that question right now is if we can get a little bit more details about the customer, and we could probably provide some updates. And I just don't have that information available at this time. But they can email me at david.a.ford@sce.com, and I'll be glad to provide an update to our provide them that information to our operations team to follow up with the customer.
Thank you. Can you repeat your email address one more time?
It's david.a.ford@sce.com.
Thank you so much. Our next question is for Public Works. How can I be notified of my permit being issued other than through my designer?
Great, and all homeowners are advised to become contacts in Epic LA. So you create an Epic LA account and make sure you're connected to your permits, and then you can also receive all the communications and check your project status within our permitting software, Epic LA. So if you're a homeowner who would like to get connected with Epic LA, we do have instructions to file an application online, or you could certainly call or visit our Altadena One Stop at 464 West Woodbury, and we can help guide you through creating an account and connecting you to your property permits. I advise and encourage that. Thank you for the question.
Great, thank you. Our next question is also for Public Works. If someone moves a historic home to a lot in Altadena, what would be the requirements to bring it up to code? Do they need to install sprinklers, prep for solar, etc.?
Great, and there is a chapter 14 in our Los Angeles County existing building code that does address home relocations. So that is always an option anywhere in the county. And for fire rebuilds, same as anywhere, we'll need a site plan. We do need a licensed civil structural engineer or architect to review the structure in its existing location. We also have a county inspector go out and inspect that structure and then clear it for relocation. And then obviously when the house is located into the area in Altadena, and then you might need a foundation plan and different things like that. But again, that existing building code chapter 14 does exempt some code requirements and then does have some requirements for others. So again, happy to answer any specific questions, but I would say starting with that chapter, we'll let you know what is needed in home relocations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have reached the end of today's Altadena Community Meeting for Eaton Fire Survivors. Thank you for having joined us here today. For more information about wildfire recovery, please visit recovery.lacounty.gov/Altadena. That's recovery.lacounty.gov/Altadena. Signing off.